Hello. Today, I would like to talk about video games. This is the first video I have made on this channel. I've never made an ASMR video, so it might be kind of shitty. I don't know how this is going to come out, but I've made other types of videos on here before. But we'll see how relaxing this ends up being. I just want to whisper and show you some games I've been playing, though. I've been playing a lot of video games recently. So we got there's about 5 or 6 here, and I want to show you them all. So the first one I want to show you, this is one that I beat about a week ago. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. This is the sequel to the first Super Mario World, which I played a long time ago. And in this one, you play as Yoshi. The game is great, and the game is really fun. I'm gonna give my thoughts on all these games too, while we're just talking about them. In this game, you play as Yoshi. You don't play as Mario this time. And Yoshi's combat and platforming is a lot different. It's very complex for a Mario game. You know, usually you would just run and jump and hit blocks, but in Yoshi's Island you actually have to aim eggs and do a bunch of other stuff, and it's a lot more complex than Super Mario World's combat and, you know, platforming and stuff. I mean, there was no combat, it was just platforming. It was way more complex than any of that was. And it's a great game. I loved it. I think that, you know, it's one of the last Mario games that I haven't really played before, and I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna go through these kind of quick. I have been up since 7 p.m. yesterday. It is now 9:30 a.m. as I'm recording this. So I should probably get to bed around noon. And I'm gonna be playing this next game that I want to talk about, because I haven't actually 100% finished this one yet. Next one we have is Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs. What a banger. I mean, seriously, I've been playing this game for consistently about a week and a half maybe. And I have 100% completed the map. I usually 100% complete all these games. I 100% completed Yoshi's Island and every other game here except the ones that I haven't fully beaten yet, which there's only 2. But Sleeping Dogs is Chinese. It is you know, it's not like a fully Chinese made game. It's you know, English, but it takes place in China, in Hong Kong. And you know, I see people always compare it to GTA and say that it's just a GTA clone, or it's like, you know, it's like Yakuza. I think it is distinctly different from both of them. I love it. It is so unique in just like its presentation, and just like it's just a really fun, enjoyable game and enjoyable story. You know, I love the story. I think the story was just really fun. The combat is basically like Yakuza 0, with a little less complexity, but you know, it's still really fun. Look at the cover here again. There's a bit of a glare because I have a pink neon tree right here. Maybe I'll show that in a second. Probably won't actually, but I'll show it to you sometime. Sleeping Dogs. The story was great. I have been playing the DLC for it. I've been playing, there's 2 DLCs, or 3 of them, but, you know, one of them is a part of the main game map. The one I've been playing is Year of the Snake, and I have a little less than halfway, I have a little less than half of it left, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think that Sleeping Dogs is honestly a hot take here. I think that I enjoy Sleeping Dogs better than GTA 5 and, you know, all those games. I don't think I enjoy it more than Yakuza 0, but I think Sleeping Dogs is probably one of the most underrated games ever made. It is just, it's so much fun. It's so enjoyable to play. True banger right there. Alright. Next one is one that I beat a long time ago when it came out, and have recently came back to it because of the DLC and the fact that it is on the Switch 2 now. Cyberpunk. I don't know how well the mic is going to pick up me tapping it, but so I have a lot of complex feelings on Cyberpunk 2077. I played it when it came out in 2020, December 10th, 2020. I'll always remember that day because it was so ingrained into my head when it came out, just like what it was going to be the day that it came out. Cyberpunk is the most disappointing video game of all time to me. You know, I don't really get excited about a whole lot of new video games anymore after it. There's only been a couple that I've even purchased on day one since then. You know, I purchased Death Stranding 2. I purchased Night Rain. I'm going to purchase Marathon when it comes out in less than a month now, March 5th. But Cyberpunk was the first big one. The first, like, really upsetting game. Because we had all this hype with it. You know, all these branching story paths. It's going to be like Deus Ex. It's going to be, you know, super deep, and there's going to be 100 fucking different story routes you can take. It wasn't any of that. It was just kind of a generic action FPS, but in an open world setting with a really, I will admit, very good art style, very good music, very good story. One of the better stories, I think, in a video game. Really memorable characters, just really good presentation on the story front. But when it comes to the actual game, Cyberpunk was just a disappointment to me. It didn't feel like what it was advertised as. You know, even when the game worked, it just refused to be fun to me. And I have a friend that has been playing Cyberpunk a lot and has wanted me to go back to it and give it a second chance, because after I 100%'d it whenever it came out, I stopped playing it forever. And it is forever kind of lived in my list of disappointing video games. But my friend has been adamant about this this new 2.0 version of it and the DLC and everything, making it a really good game. So I got it on the Switch 2 right here. When the Switch 2 came out, I got it the week it came out. And I gotta say, Cyberpunk's issues are way deeper than it just not working when it came out, and all of that. The fundamental gameplay is not very different. It is the same gameplay. It just works a little bit better. And the story is still great. The music is still great. All of that good stuff is still very good. And enhanced just because the game is an actual video game now. And it's not a scam. So, I am enjoying it much more than I originally did. But even still, it still is not. I cannot get the sour taste in my mouth out that the original launch left me with. But having it on the Switch 2 portable is very nice, and it's very cool. And I've heard the DLC is extremely good, and I haven't gotten there yet. So maybe I'll make an update on here, like a game review of Cyberpunk and the DLC whenever I finish it. But, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I originally did. Alright, I have 3 games left to show you, and I'm going to show you one that's kind of a hybrid between 2 games, I guess. This is a really cool one. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. What's cool about this is that it is 2 separate cartridges. And how this works is the original Sonic 3 was shipped on 1 cartridge, 7 levels. And the ambitions that Sega had for this game were too big, and they realized they could not ship it on 1 cartridge with how big they wanted it to be. So they split the game up into 2 releases. Really one of the first games I've seen do it in this way, where the second part of the game was turned into Sonic and Knuckles. And all of the content that was missing from the original Sonic 3 was put into this, and it's basically the second half of the story. And what's really cool about this cartridge is this flap up here. You can flap it back like that, and there's actually a cartridge insert right here. And what you do with this is you take the Sonic 3 cartridge and you slide it on there, and you snap it in place, and it becomes 1 game. This is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. This is the full game. Everything is on this one. You can play it as the developers intended this way. I think it's great. I think that Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as a whole cohesive game, both of them together, is probably the best, one of the best 2D platformers ever created. The only 2D platformers that I would put above Sonic 3 and Knuckles are the 2 Hollow Knight games. Hollow Knight Silk Song is another game that I recently just 100% complete, and I think that is probably the best game that has ever been in 2D. I think it is probably my 3rd favorite game of all time. But I don't have a physical copy of that to show you because there are no physical copies as I'm recording this. But yeah, Sonic 3 is an amazing game with an amazing soundtrack, absolutely S-tier visuals, and it's so much fun. It's such a great game. It does have a lot of frustrating parts, but you know, the quality of it outweighs all of the frustration. So I have 2 more games left to show you, and I'm sorry if you see me doing this shit with my eyes or I like raise my eyebrows. I have a tic, and it kind of makes it weird, and I also have a breathing tic that, you know, when I have to go away from the mic a little bit is very visible if you talk to me in person, but I'm trying my best not to do it and to move away from the mic whenever I do it. So here is the next game. I have another Switch 2 game. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played a lot of Zelda games. I've played Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Breath of the Wild, and A Link Between Worlds. I forgot about that one. And Ocarina of Time is my favorite, but I think after I beat Tears of the Kingdom might be my new favorite one. I mean, I feel like everybody has talked about how good this game is. It is so content rich, it is so massive, and it is so polished. It is crazily good. I loved Breath of the Wild, and I played it when it first came out, but Tears of the Kingdom feels like Breath of the Wild as not even like a 2.0, it's like a 3.0 Breath of the Wild. Everything in it has just been completely overhauled, and it is a completely different game. It might share the same map in like a different period of time and whatever, and have different mechanics with like the summons and everything, but Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are distinct in my mind. And I think Tears of the Kingdom is just, you know, personal preference for me. I prefer Tears of the Kingdom. I think it is just so crazy. It is so insane how they made Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it's like one of those games you play and you can't wrap your head around how they even made some of it. It is just so impressive. And you know, I never played the Switch 1 version of it because I was actually going to wait for the Switch 2 to come out because I did not want to play this in low resolution. So, yeah, I am not even halfway through Tears of the Kingdom. It is so massive and I just get distracted by everything. But it is such a good game. I have one more game to show you, and then I'll wrap it up and I'll talk about some things that I'd like to talk about. Won't be too long, but the last game. Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin Edition. Oh boy, where do I start with this one? Dark Souls 2. This was the first Dark Souls game that I played a long time ago, and I never fully beat it. And I've played all of the others, and I've wanted to go back to it just to fully 100% complete it. I think Elden Ring is objectively the best game ever made, and Dark Souls 2 is the only one of the mainline Souls games that I haven't beaten. I have not beaten it, or I've beaten it now, but I haven't 100% it yet. I'm currently in the process of doing it, but I'm very close. And Dark Souls 2 is very divisive. You know, you either love it or you hate it, it feels like. I am a little more on the negative side of Dark Souls 2. I think that the base game is really not good. I think that the base game of Dark Souls 2 is quite bad. The combat is subpar. The combat is not as good as even Dark Souls 1. It feels too bad, in my opinion, to really be great and make it into a game that is worth playing. I think that the areas are empty for the most part, other than being spammed with enemies. There's really nothing interesting in a lot of these areas. I think that the boss fights in Dark Souls 2, the base game, are for the most part horrible. I actually had a tier list up on a second monitor while I played it, and there was only one boss that was above a B tier for me, just for me personally. I do not like the base game of Dark Souls 2. With that being said, I think that the DLC for it is very good. I think all of the DLCs for this game are really good and add some really good areas and boss fights. So, it's not a total piece of shit. It's not a total piece of shit. It has really good ideas, and it has a lot of redeeming qualities, but overall, it is just not a game that I feel like was made well. I think, again, it has a lot of great ideas, it has a lot of good things in it, but it is not consistently good enough for it to be a good game. So, that's my thoughts on Dark Souls 2. Probably what most people think, to be honest. I don't think that's really like a super niche opinion. Alright, I think that's gonna be about it. And I do want to say that this is my first video on the platform under this name. And what you can expect from this, I guess, is just chill videos like this, where I just talk and I discuss all this nerdy shit. I have so much shit in my room. I know you can't really see it because it's dark, but I have shelves upon shelves of shit that I can talk about and that I am very passionate about and interested in. And I made this channel because I have enjoyed ASMR for a very long time. And maybe I'm good, and maybe I'll be good at it, you know. I won't know until I try it. And this is just a good way for me to get out a lot of the more chill video ideas that I've had that I can't really make on my other channel because it is so different. You know, I like chill videos, I like ASMR. If you like that, if you like what you've seen, and if you like, you know, nerdy shit like that, then stay tuned. There will be a lot more. Where this came from, I will upload a lot more weird shit and just talking to a mic, I guess, you know, but we'll see how good this video does. And yeah, thank you for watching it this far. If you did, I hope you're asleep by now, or at least thoroughly relaxed. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and good night.